Welcome to our Module 5 live session. It's 5:30, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. There might be people that are still coming in, but I want to respect everyone's time who is on this live session. As we get started, I just want to do a quick sound check. Can you hear me okay? And can you see the PowerPoint?
Hello.
Amy, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? It might be easier to do chat if your audio is not working. Hello, Sandra. Sandra, can you hear me?
Yes, how are you? I hear you.
Okay, it looks like I got confirmation that Amy can hear me on chat, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So as we in this live session, we will do some introductions as always. Reflect on Module 4, discuss stages of self-regulation, discuss a case study, and then we'll go over Module 5's assignment. And then and if you guys have any questions at the end, you may ask them. Since I think it's only a few of us today, we will just go ahead and if you have any questions throughout the live session, you could just let me know and you could ask your question and we'll move on. All right. As always, I like to do introductions. It is pretty redundant all the time. I know we have different students that join each week that don't usually join. So it's nice to have just little short introductions to get to know each other. So I just wanted to ask you what you guys share your name, where you live, what your current job position is, and what your favorite holiday movie is. You all know my name is Mike. I live in Minnesota. I am an education director for a Head Start program in 2 counties. And my favorite holiday movie is Home Alone. It came out when I was a kid, and I really enjoyed the humor of it. I usually used to watch it over and over and over and over, and it would drive my mom crazy that I would watch the same movie over and over and over. So yeah, that was a little bit about me. So introduce yourself, where you live, what your current job position, and then your favorite holiday movie.
Hello, can you hear me?
And if you are viewing this online, please, this recording, please answer these questions as well.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Amy, for some reason, I cannot hear anything that you're saying. Yeah, it might be just better to do it in the chat. So Amy is online. Her current position is a VPK teacher at a local Head Start. Um, Amy, you live in Florida, correct? And her favorite movie is also Home Alone. Perfect. And it looks like Sandra's on. Hey, Sandra.
Hi, how are you? Well, my name is Sandra. I'm from Colombia, but I live in Miami. Right now, I'm second grade. I'm helping in second grade, and my favorite
For some reason, I
movie.
cannot hear Sandra as well, so it might be me.
Oh, okay.
Sandra, do you mind just maybe typing in the chat box?
Oh, can you hear me now? Hello?
And as I wait for Sandra to type her response in the chat box, there are a lot of good movies out there during the holiday season. So some of my favorite are what you see out here. Kind of like Christmas Story, like Elf, are all kind of funny. Um, I do really enjoy watching, trying to get into a routine to try to watch a holiday movie leading up all the way to the holiday. So yeah, looks like Angelica um, also has joined. Hi, Angelica, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello? Hello?
Amy, I can hear you.
Okay, so you can hear me?
Yeah, and I can hear Angelica too. Looks like he can't hear us.
I can't hear Angelica.
Like I said, I cannot hear anyone. Um, Ladies, I may try to log back on and log back off. It looks like it's me, I'm guessing, who cannot hear. Okay, let's try this again. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, now I can finally hear you. Thank you. I don't know what is
Yes,
going
can
on.
anyone hear me?
Oh,
This
thanks. Yeah, I
this
don't
is
know.
Amy. Can
I
you
don't
hear
know
me?
what was going on there, but now I could hear everybody. Thank you. So I think we were at Sandra. Sandra's from
Yes.
Colombia, but is located in Florida as well. She's been um, helping in second grade, and her favorite
Yes.
movie is Night Before Christmas. Nice. So I heard from Amy. I heard from Sandra, and I know Angelica. You started to talk, but I couldn't hear you. So why don't you repeat that? I am so sorry.
That's okay. My current position, the assistant directors now have a new title. We are now health and safety directors. And so I would say of my favorite holiday movie, it will be A Christmas Story.
Nice. Well, thanks everybody for sharing. I'm going to try to move it along. The module 4, just wanted to take a moment to talk about module 4. You guys all did a really good job on the assignment. Like I said in the last live session, this is actually one of my favorite assignments, and I really did enjoy seeing all of your guys' classroom designs. Websites such as Classroom Architect can be really fun to play around with, and it does give you some fresh ideas for your classroom arrangement. With having that, saying that, what stood out to you the most throughout the whole module, and why? And if you are viewing this recording, please answer this in paragraph format. Yeah, what stood out to you guys the most?
This is Angelica. I think for me, what stood out the most is really paying attention to how you set up your classroom. It does make a difference with behaviors of the children, and also paying attention to how that setup it becomes a third teacher. So you want the children to be able to come into the environment and actually be able to explore and learn in the centers. So that's one thing that always stands out for me, especially when I'm assisting my teachers and helping to create their environments. We take a look at maybe there's a behavioral problem that we have going on with certain children, and sometimes you need to look at your environment and figure out, is it something that's going on? Are we not offering enough of a certain toy? Is there too many? Is the environment big enough area for the children to work in? Maybe it's too large, so we're inviting too many children in. So those types of things always stand out to me.
Awesome, that's good to hear. Yeah, classroom environment is really key to having a successful classroom.
Yeah. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Amy.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to just piggyback off of what she just said. It kind of made me think back and really realize how it is important to have the room set up and how that does help with the behavior issues and getting the children used to like a routine and understanding how things flow. For instance, like coming in the mornings, they know uh, the routine of coming in which door and moving toward what activity and what activities that are, that they would like to play in. And I think the most thing was just how it really does play a part with the behavior and setting the expectations of the children. So I think that's what really stood out the most to me.
Thank you, Amy, for sharing. Sandra, what stood out to you?
For me, as well as I agree with Angelica. Well, now that I'm in second grade, super different, but it's still I related a lot with the preschool classes. And yes, I see like how the space or the environment influence on the kids' behavior. So that's what it really like. I never thought about that, but yes, it does. And like I'm saying, for the second graders, it even though they don't have centers or stations where they can go around, still the space of the class and how the teacher sets the class, it's challenging on their behaviors.
Yeah, and I suppose like who they sit by too, especially when you have grade schoolers. Um, some some students trigger each other a little bit more different than some others. But yeah, it's really about being strategic when you're planning a classroom, even if it's a school room classroom, like for grade school, or even in an early childhood setting, the environment, and getting a lot of that information about which children play well together with, which children have differences, and um, you know, trying to find that balance that would be to make all those children successful and succeed. So awesome. Thank you guys for all sharing the Module 4 review and what stood out to you the most. I'm going to jump next to self-regulation. Um, so I kind of wanted to dig in a little bit about of the content of for Module 5, and then, like, and take a look at self-regulation. Basically, self-regulation is a conscious choice to decide that certain actions are right or wrong, and then voluntarily behave in ways that match that belief. So babies are not born with a concept of right and wrong. Their actions are impulsive as they have no morale demands guiding them. The textbook does give you some examples of a baby pulling his mother's glasses off her face. He doesn't think about the potential pain or damage he might cause, nor can he interpret or understand his mother frowns or warns him to stop. So, this is an example of immoral self-regulation. Um, the next stage of self-regulation is adherence. Adherence is when a child follows an external regulation. Basically, in this stage, toddlers and young children rely on others to monitor their actions for them. It really typically begins with the adults physically removing items that children should not have, nor removing the child from a situation. Uh, Over time, it develops the child to being able to follow verbal cues and commands. Uh, for example, like if an adult tells a child to clean up toys and the child follows the prompt and begins to clean up, they're displaying adherence. Um, so after adherence comes identification. Uh, so this is also known as a shared regulation, as children imitate the conduct, attitudes, and emotional responses and values of important people in their life. Usually, children's compliance with certain expectations may also be a strategy for establishing or preserving satisfying relationships with these special people. In this stage, the child moves beyond the simple formula of rewards and punishments and provides them with many of the ideals and standards they carry with them into adulthood. Um, and then the most advanced level is internalization. At this point, children treat certain expectations as logical extensions of their own beliefs and their personal values. External prompting and identification with other morale codes are no longer needed or are the driving factors behind the behavior. How they choose to behave is aimed at avoiding self-condemnation rather than gaining external rewards or approval from others. So children who have internalized certain codes of behaviors understand the reasons behind their actions and feel a morale commitment to following through because of those reasons. Um, so those are the four things that make up self-regulation. What's your guys' thoughts on that? I know it was a lot of information at once. But basically, a moral, there's no regulation, adherence, external regulation, identification, shared, and then internal is obviously inside.
Um, my thought on this is I'm still trying to process it. Yeah, that was a lot. I think my confusion comes into one, the self-regulation and a moral, no regulation, and adherence with external regulation. I think I just would need more of an example to elaborate on that.
Yeah, so a moral obviously is basically, we're talking more of the concepts with infants, Um, basically what it is their actions are really impulsive and they have no morale demands guiding them. So, as like I said, the textbook gives that example of a baby pulling off the mother's glasses off her face. Um, he does not think about the potential pain or damage he might cause, nor he can interpret or understand his mother's frowns or warns him to stop. That's kind of an example of moral self-regulation. Basically, they just are not aware. There's no regulation. Basically, the brain is not um, doesn't have that capacity to have that regulation. Hence, that's why babies cry all the time and need soothing skills because they can't do it for themselves. Um, so, does that make any sense, Amy?
It does. So when I think of that, I think of um, like the developmental skills, like they haven't been guided um, in emotion, maybe, or have a complete understanding of emotional.
Sure, yeah.
Um, okay, so all right,
Yeah, basically it's just, yeah, they don't have any regulation because they basically cannot they're obviously their brain is not developed, but so yeah.
okay.
Other thoughts? Yeah, I know that was a lot of information.
I wish I could add to this information, but these are kind of new concepts for me. So I guess the information, the way you explained it makes sense, but the terms itself, I don't think that I've really I've gone through this before, so there's not a lot that I can offer. But I understand now what a moral is, but I've never even really heard the word before. So I appreciate you explaining it to us. Can you go over the rest of them one more time so that I can get a better understanding of them?
Of course, yeah. So you guys kind of have an idea of what a moral is, right? That's basically no regulation whatsoever. You guys get that, right? Pretty
Yeah,
self-explanatory.
Yes.
yeah, I got that one now.
Okay. Okay, so let's look at adherence. So that's external regulation. So basically, is known as a shared regulation, as children in imitate the conduct and attitudes of emotional responses, values of important people in their life. Um, External regulation, basically the children's compliance with certain expectations may also be a strategy for establishing or preserving satisfying relationships with these special people. So basically, in this stage, the child moves beyond the simple formula of rewards and punishments and provides them with many of the ideals and standards they carry with them into adulthood. Actually, that was identification. I'm so I got that mixed up. Adherence is when the child population. So basically, sorry, scratch everything that I said. In this stage, it's toddlers and young children rely on others to monitor their actions. So basically, we have a moral stage basically focuses on, babies, and then the next one, adherence stage, focuses on mainly toddlers, and young children, which they rely others to monitor their actions. Typically begins with adults physically removing items that children should not have or removing the child from a situation. Um, Develops over time to the child being able to follow verbal cues and commands. For example, when an adult tells a child to clean up toys and the child follows the prompt. So basically, in this one, it's just following simple commands. Immoral, they can't follow any commands because they don't have any self-regulation. Basically, adherence is more external regulation. They're learning to follow simple rules and commands. Um, and then after that is the identification. So that's basically it's when shared regulation as children intimidate conduct, attitudes, emotional responses, and values of important people in their life. So it's compliance with certain expectations to satisfy relationships with special people in their life. Basically, this means that the child moves beyond the simple formula of rewards and punishments and provides with many of the standards they carry with them into adulthood. So basically, they're learning from their people that they trust. So it's kind of like lead by example, knowing and following rules of other people. And then the internalization. Basically, at this point, it's just certain expectations as logical extensions of their own beliefs. Basically, this is pretty much when I mean, children will have their own beliefs. You have your own beliefs. It's how you internalize things. Internal regulation, just making sure that um, children have internalized certain codes of behaviors, understand the reasons actually behind their actions, and feel moral commitment to following through because of their reasons. They actually understand why things are the way they are, how they feel. I know I was a little shaky. Hopefully that made a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I think for me just a little bit, but I think I'm just gonna have to see it in the text maybe and go from there.
Yeah. Um, yeah, sometimes it's a little bit better to look at the text and take a look to see and if you still don't understand it. But basically, that is the four things of self-regulation. Any other thoughts on it?
Yes, I have. Well, if I got this right, like right now that I'm in second grade, identification, I see it like when they understand like the way they behave or why they behave like that, but sometimes they don't know why the reason of certain behaviors. Like sometimes even though they're 7 and 8, they don't understand that after certain behaviors there's a consequence. That's what that means, identification and internalization.
Yes, that's identification. yes, that would be like they understand um that they're in trouble. They can't really internalize um why. So that would, yes, that would be an example of identification, almost leading into that internalization process.
Yeah, because sometimes I have to explain to them like that even though, I mean, after certain behavior or choices that they made, there's a consequence, positive or negative. And they have a hard time understanding that they sometimes they think that no matter what, they're gonna get a positive reward. And I don't know if that's what it means, internalization.
Yeah, internalization is that internalization means that they understand the reasons behind their actions.
Oh, okay.
So basically, they internalizing your own feelings, they understand why they got in trouble. Immoral, they don't understand that at all. Just like a baby, they have no regulation. Internalizing um, means that they do understand. And adherence and identification is the process in between those two of how they actually get there. So basically, in adherence, it's more with the toddlers and preschoolers. Um, Identification kind of moves into that preschool to grade school, all the way up into internalizing even into adulthood. Um, I think it's kind of a hard to explain, but just think of it as, you have a moral, you have a baby that can't regulate. Internalization means that you have someone who could actually understand why they're feeling the way that they're feeling, or why they got in trouble, and just following through from their behaviors so they could understand the reasons behind their actions. Does that help any?
I think it does, but I agree. I'm gonna just kind of get familiar with the information again, and hopefully some of the information from the reading and the text will assist as well. But yes, that was great information. Thank you.
Yeah, same
Thanks,
here.
Angelica. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain it, but yeah, basically think about it, those two things, as no regulation. Think about a baby who can't regulate their emotions because obviously they're a baby. To internalization, to people or kids understand what they did, and they know that they have to live with whatever consequences that they have um, for their actions. So um, I'm going to move forward to the case study. So there was another thing that you guys, I'm guessing that you guys probably did not have a chance to read the case study. Maybe you have. Just the show of you three, who has had a chance to read it?
I have not.
I have not either.
So I'm guessing that Sandra, you probably have not as
No,
well.
no, sorry.
No, no worries. So I'm gonna read out the case study, and then as I'm reading out the case study, think about these three questions that I have here, and answering them. Um, and if you are viewing this on, if you're viewing this PowerPoint, um, recording, please make sure to answer these three questions as well. I am just gonna go ahead and read the case study. And then we could discuss it a little bit more further. So, the case study goes like this. Adriana is 5 years old. She was adopted at 3 years of age from an orphanage in Bulgaria. According to her parents, the orphanage was a very sterile environment, and children did not get personal attention or stimulation beyond the most basic physical care. Adriana was enrolled in a different preschool last year. Her parents report that she began the program there as a quiet child. However, by the end of the year, she had become very aggressive towards other children. Her former teachers told Adriana's parents that her aggressive actions often happened without warning. They did not seem to be related to anything obvious other than children did, such as taking a toy or violating Adriana's personal space. Most troubling to the teachers was that Adriana seldom registered any emotion in the course, uh, uh, any any emotion in the course of the day, including when she hurt someone or spoiled their play. The teacher and assistant teacher in the class used timeouts each time she was aggressive. Adriana's parents say that the timeouts did not change her antisocial behavior as the year went on. They also report that Adriana has exhibited an aggression with neighborhood children, and they have decided to keep her from playing with her peers at home because they are not sure how to handle these destructive incidents. They are hoping a new school will give her a fresh start. Adriana enrolled in our preschool program in August. Although she is in kindergarten eligible, her parents wanted her to have one more year of preschool before going to the elementary school. Initial observations during a home visit and in the classroom over the past 3 months have helped us see that Adriana has multiple strengths. She has excellent command of English. She is very verbal in her solitary play. She spends about 90% of her free choice time in the art area. She likes to draw and make things. She can carry out an art project that lasts more than framing with craft sticks, such projects are self-initiated. She does not give up, and when she wants, she after she arrived in our program, several children approached her and asked her to play. She ignored them, never saying anything, just looking past them or turning away. Since then, her unpredictable, aggressive outbursts have prompted children to avoid her, and most children no longer seek her out. Some children say they are afraid of her. Second, Adriana seems detached from people emotionally. The adults in our classroom, as well as her parents, have noticed a consistent lack of affect with children and adults too. We do not know whether Adriana doesn't feel things the way most people do, or if she does, or if she just doesn't know how to respond. Regardless, her failure to read social cues and her own lack of emotional responses is getting in the way of her ability to get along with others and function successfully in the classroom. Well, now let's talk about um, this case study. Let's talk about the self-regulation and what level of self-regulation do you think Adriana has currently operating. Kind of going back to those four um, regulations that we talked about, immoral adherence, identification, and internalization. What do you think fits her self-regulation?
I think she's the moral, amoral, because she's acting like a kind of a surviving behaviors, maybe.
I would say identification because it seems as if she is aware of her behavior, um, but just not 100% in expressing it, and especially verbally, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
I would say immoral. I don't feel that for identification that she has a trust because she is exhibiting it with both adults and children. And listening to this is my story with my adopted 8-year-old to the T of what we're dealing with right now. So I'm really interested on how people are going to identify and what other people are going to say, because this is something that I'm living with right now on a daily basis. The no empathy, not being able to interact socially with other children, especially the other children in the home, hurting people, hurting themselves, hurting herself. So I would say at this point for this particular case study, she hasn't moved past that immoral stage and understanding to even get to that external regulation, because she's not even understanding, like there's no empathy there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, I feel like that she doesn't have empathy. Does she understand? I mean, some things to think about. Does she just? I mean, is she able to follow verbal cues and commands? Um, does, when an adult tells her to clean up, can she do that? I don't know. Can she? I can't remember what this said. um, I mean, I feel like that because she doesn't show empathy. Um, yeah, she's kind of in that. I think in between the almost like adherence and immoral stage. Like I feel like she possibly can have some external regulation, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of almost in between those two. But yeah, that's just that's what I think, anyways. There is really no right or wrong answer unless if you think that she's actually internalizing it. Obviously, she's not doing that. So yeah. Um, It'd be interesting, yeah, to see what other people do think. What do you think, I guess, are the next 3 strategies you could use to help Adriana move to the next level? So, yeah, I think a lot of you guys said that she is at the stage of immoral. What can you guys do to get her to here to adherence?
I would say modeling and um, um, constantly telling her uh, different emotions and different feelings, constantly talking to her, asking her how she feel about certain things or how she feel about what has happened. Um, it just seems like she would need a reminder and continuous in modeling and one-on-one. Um, Not really understanding. I'm guessing that the environment is in a classroom, so it seems like she could possibly be overstimulated with so many children, being in a classroom or being in that type of environment. Um, but mainly, I would just say the modeling and the coaching um, of explaining how everyone's emotions are and what is going on. That would be my take. I don't know.
Yeah, these are hard questions. They're definitely not easy. It really does make you think.
I agree with Amy. I think modeling, I will do modeling with her too. And also since she likes art so much, I will to model, I will make with her, I will do like a picture book. So every time she is doing something she's not supposed to, I will go over that book and show her a picture of how she has to behave. Also, I will try to do some sensory activities with her because I know that helps a lot when a child has that kind of behaviors.
Thank you for sharing, Sandra. Yes, having kind of a schedule with pictures always helps children stay on routine, and like you said, Amy, too, like having that personal coaching and to try to get them there. It really takes a lot of effort to do that. And I mean, that's just, what we do as early childhood educators is we meet our children where they are, and try to scaffold their learning, to get them to that next level, if it's whatever it has to be, to increase their development. Angelica, do you have
I think
anything to
it's
add?
important. Oh, I was going to say, I think it's important if the child is kind of in between the amoral and adherent stage, that it is important for adults to monitor their actions, because we already know they're going to display actions that are not going to be perceived by the other children as appropriate, which then shuns them away, and doesn't give them that ability to learn how to socially interact appropriately. So at home here, what we do, it's almost a one-on-one. So wherever I'm at, you are. Wherever you are, I'm at. If I'm not able to be with you, then you need to be in an area where I can monitor you when I'm not with you one-on-one. And in a school setting, it's almost the same thing. It's going to require teachers to be very vigilant and being able to step in and helping to model appropriate behaviors, and utilizing that time when you do see this child doing something, or anticipate that they're going to do something inappropriately, that you go in there and you show them situation, how to approach play, how to enter play, and how to allow others to enter into your space as well. And if you don't want them in your space, how to be able to vocalize how you are feeling. So it's important for her to understand how she's feeling before she can even begin to have any kind of empathy for her actions and how it's making other people feel.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think that another thing with that is, like I said, meeting them where they are. So if they did do something well, that you're actually praising them and reiterating, that, what they did, and it was a successful outcome. So they have that confidence to keep on going, and not just it's always no, always no, always no, with no explanation. But you know you did a very good job at putting the toys away, in the right bucket. Just a very short narrative of what they actually have done, does go a long way too. So thanks for the conversation with that. If you are viewing the recording, make sure to answer those 3 questions of the case study. I'm gonna jump into module 5. This is our last thing to talk about tonight. So like pretty much every week I kind of go over what you guys do for your assignment. For this week's assignment, you'll read a provided scenario about a child named Stephen, and you are to create a paper about how you would use direct guidance strategies to help resolve his behaviors. You will choose 2 different guidance strategies to respond to Stephen's behavior when he needs to transition from blocks, and choose 2 direct guidance strategies to respond to Stephen's behavior when he does not achieve a spot in the block center. Therefore, you should have a total of 4 behavioral guidance strategies explained in your paper. Closing the block center should not be one of your guidance strategies. For each of the 4 guidance strategies, you need to address the following questions. What will the educators do and say before, during, and after guidance strategy implementation? What are the expected results of the guidance strategy? What are Stephen's possible reactions after 2 weeks of guidance strategy implementation? And what will the educators do next? You may use bullet point or outline format for your paper if it's easier for you. Since you are answering 4 questions for each of the 4 guidance strategies, you should have a total of 16 answers for this. Your paper should be 3 to 5 pages in APA format and include a title page and reference page. And then you should also use 3 credible resources. Does anyone have questions on that? And if you do have questions that come up during the week, please feel free to write me an email, shoot me off a text, whatever is easiest. Usually text is a little bit easier for me, as I could usually respond a little bit quicker. Do you guys have any questions about the material covered tonight?
I don't.
And I do have
Thank
one
you.
regarding the
You're welcome.
discussion for this week. The 2 videos. I think I'm just a little confused about what it is that you wanted us to answer. Is it just reviewing the videos and telling you the different strategies that were used in the videos?
Amy, I would have to look at the prompt of what it is.
Okay.
And let me do you guys all want to know,
Because
or is it a question that is just Amy? Because I could actually send you out a text of what you need, or I could send you an email, whatever you want,
okay,
right? Because I know it's due tonight, your initial discussion post.
right,
So
right.
I think I will just send you a text message and let you know, because I haven't had that
Okay.
question come up yet.
Because
Can you add me on that
I'm
one as
okay with it.
well?
Yep, I could definitely do that. And Angelica, what's your number? Or actually, I'll just send you an email. I'll just send you guys an email tonight.
Okay.
Right after this. After I look at the prompt of the question, I will send you guys an email. I might just send the whole class an email so there's clarification on what that looks like, what you guys need to discuss. I think I only seen a couple discussions come in, but I didn't have a chance to actually read it, to read the prompt. So let me look at it, and then I'll tell you exactly what you need. Any other questions?
And it is still due tonight, correct?
Yep. Yep. Tuesday.
Okay.
Initial. Yep.
Okay,
So,
that
yeah, and that's something I forgot to tell you guys at the beginning. Yeah, you do have a your initial discussions for week 5 is due tonight at 11:59 Central Standard Time. So, yeah, I will shoot you off a quick email after I look at this, after we're done, and then hopefully they'll clarify your question. Any other questions? There's not any other questions. I think this is our last live session. It's been great getting to know each of you guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions between now and at the end of the course. I'm happy to help. And that's everything. Have a good night.
Do we need to still put our names down in the chat to get credit for tonight?
Nope, I got you guys all. There's only 3, so we're good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You do
You
the
too.
same.